At the moment Guan Yu was struck by an arrow and fell from his horse, chaos erupted across the battlefield. From the walls of Fan Castle, Cao Ren saw everything clearly. Realizing that Guan Yu had been wounded, he immediately judged this to be a rare opportunity. Without hesitation, he led his troops out of the city, hoping to take Guan Yu's life in the confusion and reverse the entire battle. Seeing this, Guan Ping was horrified. He hastily gathered his personal guards and charged forward, fighting desperately to force Cao Ren back. Only after carving a bloody path did he manage to rescue his father and bring him back to camp. Once inside, they pulled out the arrow, but the moment the arrow had emerged, everyone sensed something was wrong. It was coated with poison, and the toxin had already seeped into the bone. Before long, Guan Yu's right arm swelled and turned dark purple. The pain was so intense that even gripping his blade became difficult. Guan Ping, deeply worried, privately consulted the other generals. They agreed that if this arm were ruined, even Guan Yu's unmatched bravery would be of little use in battle. They proposed retreating temporarily to Jing province to recover, before making further plans. Together, the generals entered the tent and spoke cautiously. Upon hearing them out, Guan Yu's expression darkened at once. He declared angrily that Fan Castle was right before them. Once it fell, they could advance straight toward Xuchang, eliminate Cao Cao, and restore stability to the Han. To withdraw over a mere injury would undermine their great cause and shake the army's morale. Seeing his resolve, the generals dared not press the matter further, and withdrew in silence. Though Guan Yu refused to retreat, his condition worsened by the day. The generals searched everywhere for a skilled physician. One day, a man arrived by small boat from Jiangdong and came directly to the camp. He announced himself as Hua Tuo from Qiao County of Pei Commandery, saying he had heard that General Guan had been poisoned by an arrow and had come specifically to treat him. Upon hearing the name, Guan Ping immediately remembered that this was the same physician who had once treated the Eastern Wu general Zhou Tai. Overjoyed, he quickly led Hua Tuo inside. Entering the tent, Hua Tuo saw Guan Yu enduring the pain while calmly drinking wine and playing a board game with Ma Liang, maintaining a steady expression to reassure the army. After examining the wound, Hua Tuo grew serious. He explained that the injury was caused by a crossbow bolt coated with aconite poison, which had already penetrated the bone. Without immediate treatment, the arm would eventually become useless. Guan Yu asked how it could be cured. Hua Tuo replied that there was a method, but the process would be extremely dangerous and feared that the general might not accept it. Guan Yu laughed loudly, saying that after years of warfare, he had long since put life and death aside. What was there to fear? Hua Tuo then explained that the flesh would need to be cut open, the poison scraped from the bone, and the wound treated and stitched. To Guan Yu, this sounded like a trivial matter. He even complained that the procedure seemed overly complicated and ordered wine to be served at once. As the wine was brought in and lamps were lit inside the tent, the scent of alcohol mixed with medicinal herbs, making the atmosphere even more tense than during battle. Guan Yu drank several cups in succession, as if using the wine to suppress the pain and to show his officers that he would never shrink back because of injury. He reset the game board and continued playing with Ma Liang. Each piece placed struck heavily on the hearts of those watching. Guan Yu rolled up his right sleeve, revealing a swollen, taut arm streaked with dark bruises. Calmly he said, "Proceed. Do not hesitate." Hua Tuo worked with utmost care. A large basin was placed beneath the arm, and the lamps were brought closer to illuminate the wound. The soldiers stood rigid, barely daring to breathe. When Hua Tuo lifted his blade, his hands were steady. He pressed around the wound, judging precisely where the poison had reached the bone and how deep the incision must be. Softly he warned, "I am about to begin. My lord, do not move." Guan Yu did not even raise his head, still focused on the game. "Treat it as you must. If I frown from pain, I will count it as my loss." As the blade cut down, blood immediately poured forth, dripping into the basin. Hua Tuo cut swiftly, opening the flesh along the arrow wound until the bone was exposed. The bone itself had turned dark green, proving that the poison had truly penetrated deep. Then came the most terrifying moment. Hua Tuo pressed the blade against the bone and scraped away the poisoned area, stroke by stroke. The scraping sound echoed sharply, like metal against stone. Many in the tent turned pale. Some looked away, others covered their faces, fearing their legs would give out. Yet Guan Yu continued to converse calmly. While his bone was being scraped, he still held his wine cup, placed his pieces, and discussed military matters with Ma Liang. Ma Liang's hands trembled slightly as he played, but Guan Yu spoke even more boldly, as if deliberately steadying everyone present. Time passed slowly. The basin filled with blood, bright red mixed with dark poison. Hua Tuo remained composed, scraping carefully, pausing often to examine whether the bone had returned to its natural color. Only after confirming the poison was fully removed did he apply medicine. When the medicine touched the wound, everyone expected Guan Yu to react, but he merely smiled faintly and took another drink. Finally, Hua Tuo stitched the wound neatly and repeatedly cautioned against movement. At that moment, the entire tent seemed to exhale in relief. Guan Yu stood up, stretched his arm a few times, and found it nearly as mobile as before, with much less pain. Laughing heartily, he declared, "You see? This arm can still wield a blade." The generals were utterly convinced of Hua Tuo's medical skill and of Guan Yu's extraordinary courage. Even Hua Tuo himself sighed in amazement, saying he had never seen anyone remain so calm, playing a game and speaking lightly, while undergoing such a procedure. After his recovery, Guan Yu hosted a banquet to thank Hua Tuo. Hua Tuo repeatedly warned him to rest the arm for 100 days and avoid anger or exertion, lest the injury recur. Guan Yu offered 100 taels of gold in gratitude, but Hua Tuo firmly refused, saying he had come out of respect for the general's righteousness, not for wealth. Leaving behind only prescriptions, he departed. Soon after, news reached Xuchang that Guan Yu had flooded the 7 armies, captured Eugene alive, and executed Pang Da. Upon hearing the report, Cao Cao's expression changed dramatically. Striking the table, he exclaimed, "Guan Yu alone has brought matters to this." He then turned to his ministers and suggested relocating the capital to avoid Guan Yu's momentum. At once, Sima Yi stepped forward and argued that such a move would signal weakness. Yu Jin's defeat, he said, was due to flooding rather than poor command, and Guan Yu's success was temporary. Moreover, relations between Sun Quan and Liu Bei were already strained. If Cao Cao sent envoys to Eastern Wu and coordinated pressure from behind, the siege of Fan Castle could be broken. The chief clerk Jiang Ji supported this view. After long reflection, Cao Cao sighed deeply, lamenting that Eugene, who had followed him for 30 years, had shown less resolve than Pang Da. He then ordered envoys to be sent to Eastern Wu and called for a general to confront Guan Yu directly. Su Huang stepped forward and volunteered, and Cao Cao happily dispatched him south with 50,000 troops. In Jianye, Sun Quan read Cao Cao's letter and smiled faintly, remarking that Cao Cao had finally grown afraid. He summoned his officials to deliberate. Zhang Zhao cautioned that although Guan Yu's power shook the realm, Cao Cao's plea for help carried risks and could lead to future complications. Before Sun Quan could respond, news arrived that Lu Meng had come by boat. Summoned immediately, Lu Meng stated bluntly that Guan Yu had committed all his forces to the siege of Fan Castle, leaving Jing province empty, an opportunity sent by heaven. Sun Quan tested him by suggesting an attack on Su province first. Lu Meng replied that Su province was hard to hold, whereas Jing province, once taken, would secure control of the Yangtze and offer strategic advantage. Sun Quan laughed, saying Lu Meng's words aligned perfectly with his own thoughts. However, scouts soon reported heavy defenses along the river. Lu Meng grew anxious and feigned illness, refusing to appear. Lu Sun suspected the illness was false and visited him at night. There, Lu Meng admitted his concern. Lu Sun proposed a plan. Lu Meng should pretend to resign due to illness, allowing an unknown figure to take command and flatter Guan Yu into arrogance. Guan Yu would then withdraw troops from Jing province, leaving it vulnerable. Lu Meng immediately praised the plan as brilliant. He resigned, Sun Quan recalled him, and appointed Lu Sun as commander. Lu Sun treated Guan Yu's envoys with extreme humility, writing letters full of admiration and submission. Reading the letter, Guan Yu laughed loudly, declaring that Sun Quan had appointed a mere scholar, and that Eastern Wu was no threat. He accepted the gifts and dismissed the envoys. Lu Sun soon confirmed that Guan Yu had indeed withdrawn most of his troops from Jing province, and reported this to Sun Quan. Lu Meng was then reappointed as Grand Commander. He personally led troops disguised in white garments across the river, seized key watchtowers by night, and swiftly took Jing province. Lu Meng enforced strict discipline, forbidding harm to civilians and treating Guan Yu's family with courtesy. When a soldier was executed for violating orders, Lu Meng even ensured his proper burial, instilling fear and respect throughout the army. Sun Quan then secured Gong'an and Nan Commandery through persuasion rather than force. Fu Shiren surrendered, and Mi Fang was summoned next. Summary. On the surface, this chapter celebrates Guan Yu's legendary act of scraping poison from his bone. In reality, it simultaneously advances three critical threads of fate. First, Guan Yu's personal prestige reaches its absolute peak. Yet this very confidence, bordering on arrogance, lays the groundwork for his eventual downfall. Second, Cao Cao and Sun Quan effectively align their interests, shifting the conflict from direct military confrontation to a broader struggle of political maneuvering and strategy. Third, through calculated weakness, deception, and sudden assault, Lu Meng and Lu Sun execute a decisive reversal. The loss of Jing province fundamentally alters the balance of power in the realm. This chapter marks Guan Yu's most radiant moment, and the true beginning of his tragedy. Knowledge points. 1. The historical authenticity of the scraping poison from the bone episode is highly questionable. While Guan Yu's military achievements are real, the novel deliberately downplays natural factors such as flooding and exaggerates Guan Yu's personal endurance and moral superiority. 2. The portrayal of a smooth and unified Wu-Wei conspiracy is simplified. There was no formal alliance. Rather, both sides acted out of short-term self-interest. Cao Cao did not truly control Sun Quan's decisions. 3. The rapid surrender of Fu Shiren and Mi Fang is heavily condensed. The novel presents it as the result of a single letter or conversation, minimizing the long-term psychological pressure and political realities that likely influence their choices.